Welcome to ACTV Newsmakers. We are on location once again at the offices of Addison Township. We are at their event center and speaking with Township Supervisor Dennis Reboletti. Dennis, I just did a quick tour of your home improvement in process here, and I was really astounded. Amazed, I think, is the word I use. So we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Sure.
But let's talk about some of the services that you are now providing here at the Township, at Addison Township, for veterans in the community and their families. Talk about some of the new initiatives you've brought to the Township.
Sure. So one of the things that we've been working on with the DuPage Veterans Assistance Commission is to partner with them, the vet center who provides counseling to veterans for free, and the VA, who will send out counselors to help individuals with their paperwork if they're applying for different types of insurance, any claims they may have. So to really help them with those resources, as well as working with us to have a DuPage County Veterans Food Pantry only that would be open on the second Tuesday of every month. So we started partnering with them, and they call it Rally Point Addison. So it started last Tuesday, and every second Tuesday of the month, they will all meet in here, and we'll continue to work with the village and other entities to get the message out.
What are some of the services that veterans are looking for that would draw them to come to the Rally Point events when you have them monthly?
The important part is that if you come here with your DD 214, you can go downstairs to the DMV and you can add your veterans designation. The Secretary of State's office is working with us to make sure if the veterans have any real ID or any other issues, they can address those. And they can come here to learn about counseling for themselves and their families. Remember, the veterans aren't only dealing with the issue, the entire family deals with it. With respect to food insecurity, once we can get the veterans in the door, we can then talk to them about accessing the food pantry. We had some people already come out and access it the first time, which I was surprised anybody came out. But we're very excited that this is now going to be rolled out countywide, and I'll be working with other township supervisors throughout the county to try to get this program in place.
You mentioned that at the Shape of Addison town meeting, the idea of having it kind of as a temporary test case to see how it worked, not at the county level, but more closer at the township level,
right,
hoping that perhaps this could expand a little bit beyond that. So is that kind of what you're talking about, is starting there and then moving forward?
That's the hope, Don. We are also looking at bringing in a veteran service officer into the township itself. That veteran service officer would be certified to help file VA claims on site. So disability claims in particular, and if not, they would be able to find the resources statewide or countywide to help the veteran out. With that in mind, DuPage County does not have enough veteran service officers, so I've already talked to other supervisors about that, as well as providing transportation for veterans, because what we've also learned is if they have to get to Hines Hospital, they have transportation issues. Sometimes there's issues with their driver's license, or they live alone, they don't have rides between work. That's another barrier to get them to either healthcare, to the food pantry, to the county, to make sure they get the things that they need.
Now, this just started up, as you said, at the beginning of 2025. It's on a monthly basis. Second Tuesday of the month, I think is what you're targeting. How has it been going in the first couple of months in terms of attendance, number of people that you've been serving during those Tuesday hours that you're open? We
have spent a majority of the time getting the message out. And we did an e-blast to the entire township. We had it up on our signs, and we've had it out as we saw you, not only at Shape of Addison, but also at the Intergovernmental, we came and spoke about it. So we're starting to get the message out. So we did have a few people, we had a handful of people already come in. I think that number is just going to continue to grow leaps and bounds. And as the residents here are aware, we already have a vet center counselor Catherine Savage, who is also vice chair of our mental health board, she sees clients here on Mondays for about the last 7 years. So we're becoming a one-stop shop for those social services.
Is it an extension then of kind of what we've come to learn over the years with township government? Those are the services that you've been providing. You're just expanding it, and now you've targeted a certain segment of our community, a certain population that either would have to go out to DuPage County, or if they could get there at all, or deal with some other bureaucracy, they could actually come here a little more local than to their home and where they live.
Yes, we're trying to make it easier. And what we found out from the Veterans Assistance Commission is that we have a large population of veterans, and we just want to make sure that they have a 2-mile drive to come here and see somebody versus trying to figure out how to get out to the county. It's not always an easy trip. It's very difficult to park, and it can be a problem in somebody's busy day, but we're just trying to bring things closer to home so that that access point is here, and then we can work with that individual to get them whatever assistance they may need.
Now, what if a family member comes in? You mentioned that you're working with families as well as the veteran themselves. What if a family member, they're the ones who need to come in to ask questions and find out where they can go for services because their family member who's the veteran isn't able to make it themselves?
Right, so eventually at some point the veteran's going to have to be the one to prove all the paperwork. However, one of the things we're working with our mental health board is to have a certified therapist on site here that will also be able to see veterans' families, because they have different types of, besides VA insurance, depending on, they can have like a PPO for veterans, but there aren't enough counselors out there to see the family. So if a veteran is dealing with PTSD, that entire family is. So we want to make sure that the spouse is here, that the kids are here, so that they can also have counseling services, because that becomes a family disease, it's a family issue. And we can't forget the families that have supported the veteran throughout.
Are appointments necessary for the Tuesday services that you have available?
So if you enter door 8 here at the event center, it's handicap accessible, plenty of handicap parking. It's open. So it's from 10 to 2 every second Tuesday. It's come on in, no appointment needed. Everybody here is on site, and all you have to do is come on in, and you have 4 or 5 different people to talk to help get you situated.
And bring the form with that identifies you as a veteran, and you could talk to, like you said, the Secretary of State staff, and you could talk to the other agencies that are represented here to work with the veteran.
Absolutely. Don't forget to bring your DD 214.
Right. Okay. Very good. So we hope that our community will take advantage of that if that is something that is of importance to you. Now, just a little ways down the hall here from the event center, it's Demolition City, and it's been going on for a while. I guess I would call it the old township offices, and now it's becoming the Alive Center, right? So you want to give us an update on the status of the construction?
So the residents may have heard me speak about the Alive Center at Shape of Addison. It is a community center. Our board has signed an MOU to work for the next 3 years with the Alive Center to bring in basically a community center for any kids. Doesn't have to be at risk. It will be staffed. We are going to be working with Addison Trail to bring in mentor teenagers. It's open for middle school to high school, but it's really mentor driven, age driven, and we're going to ask all the local school districts to participate. And it is like demo day in there every day. My wife came in and couldn't believe how people live like that for the whole year. But we have been, with our resources, taking down walls, taking out floors, and rebuilding and reimagining 5,500 square feet, which will provide gaming areas, a STEM lab. We're even thinking about putting a podcast room and recording room, and an arts center, and mentoring and teaching. And so in these rooms, there will be a director, we'll have a deputy director, we'll have interns, not only from high schools, but we're looking to bring in interns from area colleges that want to get service, but at the same time get experience. So we're really trying to bring in a curriculum for those students, but at the same time, wrap around services for the kids if they have any issues. And they want to, once they have a chance to meet the staff and get to know them, when they want to open up, if they need anything, we will have people on site that will be able to work with them to get them any help or assistance they may need. But they would come in here, check in this area, and then make their way into here. So as what you're looking into is the old administrative offices or classrooms, depending on how much you remember Old Oak School. This was a conference room and had been office space. Walls were taken down. As you pan out towards the west, that room on the far right is where our dais used to be, and again, that was where the dais is now in our event center. This entire area is about 2,500 square feet. Out into the hallways, about 3,000 plus square feet. This, while it doesn't look like much now, is going to be a game room where you'll have Xbox, couches, board games, different types of activities for young people. And on the far western area, we're looking at ping pong, pool, pop-a-shot, pinball, video games, stand-up video games, so that you're going to come in here in a game area and have a lot of activities to do. If you're looking over here into what was an old break room, this is going to be a kitchen. In the kitchen, as we're building it out, you will have all new appliances, and the children that are in, they'll have access to food. They'll be taught to cook food, making sure they're cleaning up, being responsible for the area. So it's not a restaurant, but they will be taught how to make different desserts or meals, and will actively ask the community to help and support that. I know that in other facilities in a live center, a lot of the restaurants have donated food for the kids. They come in when they want to eat something, pizzas or burgers or whatever. But there'll be a counter space here. There'll be plenty of seating in here for probably about 20 to 25 kids. And as we've learned, as you see throughout, this portion of the building is probably about 75 years old. So we're dealing with a lot of the utilities and things that we have to move around, but as we're also upgrading our internet. So this whole entire space is going to be free-flowing to provide a lot of space for activities where 20, 30, 40 kids could definitely meet in here and keep active under the guidance of a director, a deputy director, high school interns, and our college interns. So this room will be part of the community center. This is going to be our STEM room. So it's going to be a STEM lab. And throughout the weeks and the months, different programming will take place. So you'll have the opportunity, kids will have the opportunity not only at school, but to have more one-on-one to participate science, technology, engineering, and math, and all of those.
Do you have enough bandwidth for all the computers that you're going to be putting in here?
Well, we just put fiber optics in, so we're very hopeful that.
Okay, I guess you're probably good.
Yes, so we've tried to upgrade the infrastructure around the building as well, but all of these rooms that you're seeing are total gut and replace of what was previously there, so that we're putting our best foot forward and giving the kids a lot of open space in which to have these activity rooms and maybe challenge themselves and learn some things that they may not have found an interest in the past. This is one of the other rooms that have been reclaimed. This is going to be, we believe, where the executive director of the Alive Center will be. This is also going to be counseling space, so that if you know the school itself or the township building, this is tucked in a corner where if kids have any issues that they want to address in a more private setting, this is going to allow them to do it away from all the activity in the gaming room back over there.
So you might have a social worker, a licensed social worker in this type of setting,
yes,
working one-on-one with students and families and stuff.
That's correct. So our director is becoming licensed to be an LCPC. So she will have the formal training. She has to pass her exam, and then she'll have that training. And we're also going to work a partnership with NEDFIS, which the viewers may be familiar with here in Addison as well. And they work with youth counseling, and we're working on giving them space in here that if more people need to be seen, some of these kids need more individualized counseling, the mental health board will step up and help to take care of those costs to make sure that these kids get any counseling or services they may need, separate from the schools or their own health care or lack thereof.
There's a lot to be said for doing these types of things in kind of a neutral territory, not in the school necessarily, not in a police department also. And a lot of times police were the agencies that would work with those groups, which they still do, but that might sit as a little more intimidating for some families and young people. This is maybe not quite as difficult to handle as something like that would be.
Right. We're hoping that our staffing and folks will establish personal relationships with the kids as they come in. They'll have a chance to talk with them and have the folks open up to them. And at that point, they can get some services. But the bigger goal, Don, and also so the community is aware, we are working with our mental health board to have licensed social workers or professional counselors on site that would be able to help residents after hours, your regular after business hours, so that those who don't have counseling, don't have health care that might cover it, or the deductibles are too high, would be able to gain those services here. So that's more of what the future looks like here at the township. And we're going to hope to keep expanding that out as the need for mental health services continues to expand.
Now, how did you come about finding these needs? In other words, how do you know that's the kind of thing that middle school, high school students would be looking for? And then how did you connect with the Alive Center?
So I happened to meet the Alive Center folks through the Naperville Township supervisor at one of our meetings, was talking about the good work that they do in their community. The Alive Center is in 4 other communities here in DuPage County. And as I've been around this village for a number of years, people have talked about some type of rec center, open community center, something for the kids to do after school. And so as we've talked about it, we thought, let's just give it a whirl. Let's see what happens. Let's see if we have community support behind it. So far, we've heard nothing but good thoughts on it. And I think we're looking for a soft opening date of June, or trying to coincide with the end of school, and that it'll be open in the summertime as well. So it's a place for kids to hang out after school. And then it also allows parents that may need that extra couple of hours before they get home, that they'll know that their son or daughter is here with supervised staff.
So the Alive Center does the staffing, and they're on site during the time that students would be here to take advantage of the programs. They kind of run the show then?
So actually we're running the show. They're going to train our staff. We'll be bringing in people. The mental health board's going to be helping us financially, but we also got a community grant to help with the cost of, it's franchising really. And so they will train our folks here and help us to train high school students and any other college interns, so that, and then help us develop a curriculum of things that will happen here weekly, different programming.
Great. 12 months out of the year, or?
It will be open 12 months out of the year, yes.
Right, during the week then.
Yes.
Schools are in session.
They have the idea that depending on our staffing and ability to get community involvement, it could be open every day after school. It may start out a little bit less than that to get our legs under us, but ultimately I think the goal would be to have it open Monday through Friday in the evenings, and then again have summer hours as well.
And you're talking about serving students who live within Addison Township, right?
All of Addison Township, middle school and high school students will be welcome.
So you'll have to do outreach to the schools then, right?
We are in the process
locally.
of that. Absolutely. We've talked to Dr. Barbonenti. I've talked to Dave Williams over at District 4. I've been in a number of meetings with the mayor's office, with Deputy Mayor Hundley, talking to all the other taxing bodies to get the message out. But we're also reaching out to Lake Park High School, York High School, Fenton, and then all the middle schools as well.
Wow. So how does this gel with township government's mission, and you've been a champion for the need to keep township government viable in Illinois, certainly, but also here locally. And a lot of people kind of don't know what the township government is. We don't have to go through the whole lesson right now, but how does this work with its township government's mission in the first place? Going back, I mean, I'm going back quite a ways to where you are now today, all this work that you're putting into it. How does this work?
Well, we started out being the school district. If you see the one-room schoolhouse, the Churchville one-room schoolhouse, but we now have morphed into the social services area between financial assistance for people with utilities or mortgages, apartment rent. But at the same time, there's been a need for other community services where it gets more difficult to get to the county. And these local township mental health boards have now allowed us to serve different groups we wouldn't necessarily have that opportunity to do. Youth underserved, veterans underserved. So every population that may be underserved in getting those social services and mental health services or disabled services, there's now more of what, as they call it, the rally point, somewhere close to home that would be the beacon where you could come on in and access these social services that years ago many people weren't thinking about. It was more of a taboo. And I think that what the township allows us to do now with the mental health board, that community center is also preventative mental health care to get kids into safe areas, talking, meeting new friends. Some may be bullied, some may be the ones doing the bullying. There's all kinds of problems that we all face, that children are facing, and that we're just hoping that as they open up, we're reaching out to the children, to the youth, to make sure they have a stable foundation. And it also gets the community involved because you have a mental health board or you have a community center that they can get engaged in by volunteering, by donating, by being involved, making sure that the kids have that place to go and learn, study, be tutored. And so I think it kind of brings the township full circle that you're here close to home helping your neighbors out.
And the idea of being providing social services for a wide variety of citizens and residents within township boundaries is newer, because in the past, if you didn't need a service from the township, you really didn't know much about what was going on in the first place. I mean, how many times would a person have to go to the assessor's office, right? Or maybe you early voted here, but that's about it. But now you have the Secretary of State's office. They've been here for over a little bit over a year now, right? And these new services, this is quite amazing that you're doing it in the same footprint of the building that you've been operating out of for 40 years.
It is, and the other thing that I want to mention is the passports. We have been doing a lot of passports, very easy to come and do. Staff is very knowledgeable, and I think that's another important function where, if not, you're trying to go find some place that can take care of it. So these aren't niche markets. These are, everybody would come to us at different times, say, can you fill this need? We can't do it. We don't have the space. We don't have the staffing. Here we make sure that if there is a need not being filled in the township, if we can't do it, we'll find somebody that can, but we are undertaking the ability to use this building, this campus, to bring services here more locally. And I think that now, instead of saying people will never come to the township building, it's likely you'll come here at some point between early vote. And we saw a huge early vote contingent come out in November. And then we're seeing over 200 people a day coming into our DMV facility.
So it really reinvigorates the idea of what a township level of government does in a community that, like I said, people may not know about in the past. And now it's very likely that they will have, either through their children or their veteran, whomever it might be, or somewhere in between, they might actually be in this building in some cases for the first time.
Absolutely.
So who knows? For more information, what is the best way to reach out to the Addison Township for any information on services and find out what's coming up and keep up to date on some of the things we've talked about today?
You can go on our website. It's been refreshed, redone. It's addisontownship.com, or you can call my offices at 630-530-8161.
Okay. Well, we've been on location today at the Addison Township offices, speaking with Township Supervisor Dennis Reboletti, getting an update on the new Rally Point Addison services for veterans and an update on the Alive Center youth drop-in center for Township young people. Thank you very much, Dennis, for talking with us today.
Thanks for coming out, Don.
Yep.